So before we start the video, I'd like to ask you guys to please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video, as it helps the channel grow. So let's get into it. All right, so the Bears' first preseason game is in the books. They take a 33-6 win over the Buffalo Bills, and a game that there was a lot to like on both sides of the ball. So I figured I would just hop on here real quick, give my quick little reaction, and give my winners and losers of the first preseason game. I could base this criteria based on anything. It doesn't have to be a specific player or a specific thing. It could just be anything that I saw throughout the game that could make it into the winners or losers category. So without further ado, let's get into it. What's up, guys? KT here, back at it with another video. Today we're doing the Bears. So as I had previously stated, the Bears took their first win of the preseason, going into the second week against the Cincinnati Bengals. There was a lot of things to like coming out of this game on both sides of the ball, really. Like that game against the Buffalo Bills, it provided just a tiny sneak peek of what we could be getting going into the regular season. There were a couple winners, there were a couple losers, so I'm going to put them all in this video right here. I'm not going to hold you guys for too much longer. Let's get straight into it. So we're going to start with the winners first, and right off the bat, number one, the first winner of the day obviously has to be our new quarterback, Caleb Williams. Man, was Caleb Williams spectacular on Saturday. Not the numbers that stick out to you. He was 4 of 7 with 95 yards passing with a 101.8 passer rating on the day. So not much jumps out on the stat sheet for Caleb, but if you watched the game and you just saw the way he was working the field, he was reading the defense, going up to the line, checking, changing the play, all the little intangibles that you saw, his footwork, his pocket presence, his ability to get out of the pocket and throw on the run with extreme accuracy. That throw to Cole Kmet was probably his best throw of the day. Still a few rookie growing pains, of course. Would you like to see him get the ball out faster? Just a little bit faster, maybe. Did he miss a couple reads? He maybe missed 1 or 2 reads, but overall, Caleb Williams looked like the real deal. There's a lot of guys that play well in the preseason, but they don't really look the part per se. He looks the part. He looks like a guy that was drafted number 1 overall. There's a lot of, I'm not going to say Mahomes because everybody says Mahomes, but, there was a lot of Mahomes in his play style, and with that flip to DeAndre Swift that had the crowd going a little bit crazy and they had the internet going crazy, it was just the tiny things, the stepping up in the pocket, getting through his reads fast, going 1, 2, 3, back to 1, the ball jumps off his hands. He has good arm strength, good pocket presence, good awareness to step outside the pocket, good awareness on the scrambling, good ball security. He didn't take a sack. He did not fumble. He did not turn the ball over. He only had one really bad read, and that was pretty much it for Caleb Williams. Although he didn't play much, he only played 18. He only had 18 snaps. He definitely showed his talent. There's highlights on the screen that I showed earlier. You see it with him. He's definitely everything is advertised. And, when you're the number 1 overall pick, and which the Bears haven't had a solid franchise quarterback yet, he looked like the part for this team. And, if he continues to build off that performance on Saturday, he's going to get even better. And I think he's going to be ready. I think he's the real deal, man. I really do. I like Caleb. He definitely looked like the generational talent that we were, advertised going into the preseason and after we drafted him. So winner number 1, Caleb Williams, no doubt. Winner number 2, I'm going to go with Austin Booker. Man, this dude is a straight up beast on the defensive end. Still only playing with the 2s, he's not getting into that starting lineup yet, but if he keeps playing the way he has for this basically the entire preseason so far, he's going to get a quick slot with the 1s at some point. What was meant to be a developmental prospect for the Bears has turned into a guy that's giving them significant snaps. And what jumps off to you about Austin Booker is his consistent motor. He is you throw him off the block a few times, doesn't matter. He'll come back, he'll spin past you, get to the quarterback. very good power pass rushing moves. It seemed like every time he touches an offensive lineman, they're going down to their backside, including Pro Bowl left tackle Deion Dawkins on Saturday. Austin Booker had 2.5 sacks. I think he had 5 tackles and 3 QB hits. This guy is an absolute terror on the defensive end. He is on the defensive side of the ball. He is terrorizing offensive linemen. If he is able to, kind of improve his finesse technique and get some of that speed rush, get some of that bend in his rushing ability, I see this guy being a very, very good player for the Chicago Bears and starting at some point, as he does look like a steal, but he's continuing to build off a strong performance in the Hall of Fame game. Now with this latest game against the Bills, showing that consistent motor, getting to the quarterback any way he can. Even if he doesn't get the sack, he's forcing consistent pressure, and that's really going to be a help to the Bears come the regular season if he does end up getting some more significant snaps. So I was really pleased with the way he played on Saturday. I did say during my draft video that he could be one of my favorite prospects, and he could possibly be the steal of the draft. So yeah, hats off to Austin Booker. He is our second winner of the preseason game against the Buffalo Bills. Winner number 3, we're going to go with Shane Waldron's offense. Now, there were a couple things that they needed to improve on for that first real preseason game, and I'll get to that in the losers section. But man, for real, Shane Waldron's offense is, a breath of fresh air. We're seeing Caleb. We saw Caleb get under center, which is, we struggled with pass coordinators. Guys had space to run in. The route concepts were decent. I wouldn't say they're all perfect, but they were decent. Guys were getting open. He was making it easy for Caleb Williams, and he did exactly what I thought he was going to do going into this game, was keep the scheme kind of vanilla, get him a few easy throws, then let him start to showcase the talent with his arm. Give him a few throws to showcase the talent with his arm. That scramble ability for Caleb. Drawing up guys, getting them to the right spots. Man, that route to Cole Kmet was perfectly drawn up. Even though like in the regular season you're not going to be able to run at least 3 naked boots out in a regular game, and you're not going to be able to see all the space. It just seems like he has a feel for play calling much better than some of our previous coordinators have. And they were able to consistently move the ball up and down the field. When the twos came in, they were able to get touchdowns. They were able to finish. They ran the ball particularly well. There's a lot of 11, 12, even 13 personnel out there. He's very reliant on the tight ends as well. That seemed like the schemes, the pass protection, he was doing a good job of pass protecting, keeping your rookie quarterback safe. There was even a split backs formation in there, add that extra protection for your quarterback. And so Shane Waldron definitely has the feel for play calling, and that's dangerous for this Chicago Bears team and for any other team that comes to play us, as we have a lot of talent on this offense. We saw, the building blocks of what this offense can be last Saturday. So, man, Shane Waldron, I got to give him a lot of credit. It just seemed like his play calling was on point. While there were some things that need to improve, I feel like he did a good job in his first preseason game. This is really the first game we really seen him call an offense with all our guys out there. So, man, I was really, really impressed. And hats off to the pass protection as well. Hats off to that offensive line. They gave Caleb enough time to go through his reads. If Caleb saw nothing was there, he would take off and run or throw the ball away. But, man, that pass protection held up better than I thought it would. So hats off to Shane Waldron and his offense for being consistent and having that general overall feel. It just felt like a breath of fresh air for the fan base and for the team itself. But there were a few negatives going into coming out of this Buffalo Bills game. Number 1, the red zone offense with the ones. Now, again, first week of preseason, you're not going to be showing everything. You're not going to be showing all your schemes, all your flashy plays. You're not going to be too creative. Don't want to give away too much. You'll start to see more of the flashier stuff and more of the more complex nuances with this offense as we move further in the preseason and get closer to the regular season. But, the red zone offense with the ones left a little to be desired. that 3rd and 1, they were in the red zone. I felt like they could have been a little bit more aggressive other than handing it off to Khalil Herbert to see if he could try to get the first down. Again, it's only preseason, but you should still like to see at least the starting unit finish with a touchdown, a couple drops, and, it's like I said, it's preseason. You're not going to be showing everything in your offense, but at the same time, you still like to see the ones get at least one touchdown out of those 2 red zone possessions, just to get a better feel about yourself. And when it comes down to the regular season, you don't want to be ending every red zone possession with just 3 points. So if I had to pick one of the losing categories for the Buffalo Bills game, that would be it. Number 2, Nate Davis. This man is on the verge of possibly losing his starting job. Nate Davis did not play. He was one of the few starters that did not play, and it's different because, it's the first week of preseason. Not too many core guys are going to play. Montez Sweat didn't play. Jaquan Brisker didn't play. Kyler Gordon didn't play. Tyreek Stevenson did not play. But at the same time, it's a little bit different with those guys. We know what those guys can bring to the table. Especially guys like Montez Sweat, what you're going to get out of him. It's a little bit different with a guy like Nate Davis, who, the Bears have been increasingly frustrated with his unavailability. And you would think if he would be healthy, he would want to go out there and, compete for, his job to solidify himself as the week 1 starter, as Matt Pryor got the start, actually, not Ryan Bates. And Matt Pryor, he did a really, really good job at right guard. Now, granted, I don't think the Buffalo Bills are playing everybody on their defensive line, but he did a good job handling himself. And for a guy like Nate Davis, who's making a lot of money, who they signed to be the right guard for this team, a guy like Matt Pryor going out there performing well only bodes unwell for Nate Davis. And I feel like he's going to have a strong, first of all, he's going to have to play, but he's going to have a strong next 2 games, as, it could really easily come down to Ryan Bates or maybe even Matt Pryor if he continues to play this well in the preseason. It could really come down to them, playing week 1. So yeah, Nate Davis, he's gonna have to find a way to get back on that field, and he's gonna have to find a way to get into that lineup, get back into that starting offensive line, as if he does come back from injury week 1 of the season, he hasn't played all preseason, it's going to be a disaster. The offensive line has to be in sync, and with Pryor out there, it seemed like the offensive line was in sync, and you don't want to go too many games without your starting right guard that you signed for a large amount of money. You want him out there playing, you want him out there getting comfortable with the new quarterback, getting comfortable with the new center. And him just sitting out preseason games, whether he was hurt or not, I don't know. But I thought he was healthy. Him sitting out of preseason games doesn't do him any favors. So if I had to pick a second loser for that category, it would probably be Nate Davis. The last loser of the day, or of the first preseason game, would be, I would have to say, Tyler Scott, man. Tyler Scott, he had I wouldn't say a costly fumble, but it's things like that it makes you kind of side-eye him just a little bit. He had a good camp. He had a couple good days at camp, and I was expecting to see a lot more. He got some burn with the 2s. He's probably the main guy out there, while a guy like Valus is more moving to a more running back role, who also really played well in that first preseason game. Tyler Scott, we're expecting him to take a leap this season, and we know he's not going to start, any games or anything like that. But he's had a lack of playmaking these past 2 games. They tried him on kick return. That didn't really yield any results. They tried the little jet sweep with him. That didn't really yield any results except the fumble. And his receiving, kind of leaves a little bit to be desired. And I felt like he could have took more advantage of his opportunities on Saturday. Again, still early. He can still make an impact. I'm not saying he's on the verge of being cut, because he really does have that type of talent to be our number 4 receiver and be that burner that the Bears do need. At the same time, we need him to start taking advantage of these opportunities, as his talent is is too great to be ignored. It's going to be an asset for this team. If he continues to have mental mistakes and, commit fumbles, not getting open with the twos, not taking advantage of these opportunities that he's getting, he's going to start slipping down the depth chart. And, for the Bears, that'd be really unlucky, as he was a 3rd round pick a couple years ago. So Tyler Scott, if I had to give the third loser, if I had to put somebody in that third loser spot, it'd probably be Tyler Scott. But overall, came away with more positives than I thought. Coming from this Buffalo Bills preseason game. We got our next game coming up against the Cincinnati Bengals. Very unlikely that the Bengals play any of their starters going into the second preseason game. So we don't know whether Caleb Williams is going to play, or if he's going to sit out or not, or how many starters are going to play this game. Only time will tell. But I'm excited. If he gets out there and plays again, I'm excited to see him play again. He definitely looked the part, along with other guys on this roster. We're only going to get better as the preseason progresses, and we're only going to see more of what this guy can do and what this whole offense and this defense can do. So I'm excited. This Bears team looks promising. We walked away with a lot more pros. It's just the vibe felt different of this team going into that first preseason game. So I'm glad what I saw in that first preseason game, and I'm looking forward to the game against the Bengals on Saturday. But that's all I got for you guys in this video. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the videos. It helps the channel grow. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I drop one of these Bears videos. I'm thinking about doing some more videos as well. We got a couple games coming out. I got a couple games installed that I want to play. Maybe I'll do some more discussions. Still debating on whether I want to do that, division standings thing, or, record predictions for the different NFL teams. But if I do, I'm probably going to go division by division. So be looking out for that. Still looking out for more boxing as well, as I'm going to start doing a little bit more videos on that subject as well. But yeah, make sure you guys follow me on social media as I post some really good stuff there. Thank you guys for watching. Bear down, and I'm out. Peace.